Hello, how's it going, everybody in the YouTube community? Um, I'm gonna just get straight to the point. I'm new to YouTube. This is probably like my third video, and I'm a boxing fan, so everybody making boxing videos. So I just want to address these issues as far as Mayweather. Um, I noticed the first video I had, the second video I had made got took down because it was too long. So like I said, I'm new to this. So I'm gonna just try to make a series of videos, and I don't want to come across as a Mayweather bandwagon. But what I do want to do is, you know, um, try to get more people out there to respect the man's craft. There are a lot of people that respect this craft, and there's people that don't, and that's going to be with any figure, whether it's sports, music, acting, whatever genre it is, whatever art it is. There's always going to be people that like and dislike. But I mean, the reason why I want to keep making videos about this is because it's so much hypocrisy in the hate for Floyd Mayweather. Like, I'm watching a video now, and it's a guy talking about how Bernard Hopkins, fought everybody. When Bernard Hopkins first started fighting as a pro, he did fight everybody. He was one of those guys that had like 6, 7 fights a year. If you go to his CompuBox records, you can see that Bernard Hopkins was one of those guys that was fighting like at least like once a month or once every 2 months. I do respect Bernard, for one, because he is from Philly and I'm from Philly. Two, Bernard has never been knocked down, and three, Bernard is what I would call a defensive slash timing specialist. He kind of fights like Floyd, but he doesn't give Floyd the attributes. Um, Bernard has gone on record to criticize Floyd, to say that all he is a counterpuncher, but I think that Bernard's style and Floyd's are very similar. The only difference is that Floyd always finishes the occasion. Now, I hear this guy, I'm not on YouTube to create beef with anybody, but I hear this guy giving Bernard Hopkins all this praise and not acknowledging Floyd, whereas though, um, you know, Bernard has stepped up to the occasion, but every time he stepped up to the occasion, as far as size is concerned, he's been beat. Like, he lost to everybody that was his size. He lost to Jermaine Taylor twice. He lost to Winky Wright. Well, I think, no, he did beat Winky, but it was a close fight, or it was a draw or something like that. Either it was a draw. He lost to Roy Jones, who was his size. He lost to Kawasaki. You know, he won the second fight against Jones, but I mean, who's counting that? Like, you know, um, this prime versus not in your prime argument. Karl Malone was in his 40s playing basketball. Basketball, they got 82 games a year. Most professional boxers fight once or twice a year. So when people say that a fighter like Oscar De La Hoya was out his prime when Floyd fought him, makes no sense to me. How is Oscar out his prime at 34 when Karl Malone is 40 years old, looking better than some of the people that were playing basketball at that time period? Also, David Robinson retired after being 40 something years old. I think he retired in his 40s. Um, Charles Barkley may have retired close to 40. Uh, and these are sports that take more endurance than boxing, or just as much. But the difference is that they play it. They do it more than what boxers do. Boxing on a professional level, again, is maybe 1, 2, 3 fights a year, if that. Basketball is 82 games. Football, Brett Favre, old as shit. I don't even watch football like that, but Brett Favre, I'm pretty sure, is either close to 40 or over 40. That's a more grueling sport. Because if you're a defensive fighter and you don't take any punishment, or whoever you're fighting is a bum, then you're fighting once, twice a year, and then you may fight somebody, and the Pacquiao Clottey fight, nobody got any damage in that fight. So I mean, like, is Clottey, if Clottey had 5 more fights like that and he turned 40 years old, will people be saying he's out of his prime? How's he out of his prime? All he doing is sparring in the gym, training. When it comes to a professional level, he's not taking any punishment. So Floyd's not taking any punishment. Whereas though all these other fighters are taking somewhat punishment, but again, it's only 3, 4 times a year. So how's Oscar De La Hoya not in his prime? How George Foreman fight that he was 40 something years old and he not in his prime? How Sugar Ray Leonard retired came back, retired, came back, retired, came back. And then when Floyd does it once, they say that all he doing is retiring and coming back. He did it once. Sugar Ray Leonard did it over 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a lot of hypocrisy and it's a lot of contradictions when it comes to Floyd. This racist rant thing. You know, Floyd called Manny Pacquiao a young chump, and now they saying that he said yellow chump. You know, people asking me dumb questions like, well, if Manny Pacquiao said I'm gonna beat your butt and then go make you fry some chicken, this, that, and the other, and all of that, would I feel some type of way? No, I wouldn't feel some type of way because most black people don't feel no type of way about the N word. To me, racist is really hatred. You know, we don't live in a society that's sensitive to clowning on people. So now clowning on people, what may have been perceived as disrespect is not really, because we live in a generation, we live in a society where you can do what you want, freedom of speech, all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? So you can say what you want. So black people, we ain't sitting back saying that the shit is racial. The only black people that are saying stuff is racial are like people that are our elders, like the older people that don't want us to use the N word. We done transformed the N word, and we could really give two shits about whether a black person was saying it or a white person was saying it. You know, if we don't like a white person, then we may, if he say it, then we may use that as an excuse to fuck boy up. But if we like him and he say it, we don't care. Racial to us, to the new generation, is doing something to hold us back, to prevent us from moving forward strictly based on race. Not a joke or a derogatory comment. That's not racial. It's insulting, but like everything is insulting. We call women bitches, all types of shit, and then the next day we cool with them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really that serious, you know. And so all the, you know, if he said fried chicken, watermelon, we'd be like, oh, this nigga Manny Pacquiao got some motherfucking balls. That's what we would say. We give him props if he said that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he would have to back it up in the ring. Floyd ain't saying this shit and not going to back it up. He going to back it up. Like, you know, I like Manny Pacquiao, but truth be told, after what he did to Shane Mosley, there's no way that Manny Pacquiao can see him. And then the first thing they say is Shane Mosley was old. How Shane Mosley old and he only 38, 39? George Foreman was older than that, and George Foreman wouldn't even sit down in between rounds. Stand the fuck up. Big, heavy dude. Big, heavy, fat ass dude. You see what I'm saying? Evander Holyfield is 48 years old and still fighting, just fought a couple of weeks ago. So Shane Mosley too old? Y'all funny, man. But like, you know, like I said, you know what I mean? I'm going to keep making videos to talk about this hypocrisy, like I said, because it's too much hate on somebody that's obviously the greatest to date, and it's not because he's 40 and 0. If you watch the sport, you can break it down decisively. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you don't, in other arenas, just because somebody's undefeated, it doesn't determine whether they the greatest or not. I never said Floyd was the greatest because he was 40 and 0. He the greatest because he ain't took no punishment against the 40 people he beat. So, again, Ricky Hatton was 46 and 0. They had the audacity to say that he was scared of Ricky Hatton, he was ducking Ricky Hatton, and he beat the shit out of Ricky Hatton. He played with him. I don't care if he didn't beat him as fast as Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's game plan is to go in there to be fast and get the job done. Floyd's game plan is a lot more elusive. Any fighter that's not elusive will face their day of reckoning. Why you think Tyson got knocked out? Because he wasn't elusive. All you knew that he was going to come in there with tenacity. You knew he was going to try to beat you down with power. So once he met somebody that was just as strong as him and knew his game plan, all they had to do was have tenacity on their end to stand up towards it. Floyd is elusive. So comparing the fact that Manny Pacquiao beat Hatton quicker makes no sense. As long as he beat him, and he beat him, in my opinion, he beat him worse. He baited him the whole fight with a fake ass left hook, and then when the 10th round came around, he waited and gave him the real left hook. He like baited him with his F game the whole fight, and then stepped it up to like a C- game and knocked Bull out. He knocked him out with one punch. Then when the man got back up, he caught him with 2 more hooks, and then the referee actually pulled Floyd away before he threw the 3rd punch because he could see Ricky Hatton was hurt. You know what I'm saying? Then now Ricky Hatton snorting coke, and he an alcoholic. But this is the dude that y'all said Floyd was ducking. Then after Floyd beat these fighters and these fighters start exposing, themselves and what they've been into, you know what I'm saying, or what they just got into after they got mentally beat by Floyd. Now all of a sudden it's an issue. After he beat Manny Pacquiao probably gonna be snorting coke and all types of shit, sleeping with his wife and all of that, because once you get beat by somebody hands down in a fight, you land no punches. Everything you been learning all your life, you just had to throw it out the fucking window because you got completely exposed. How you think that's gonna make you feel? You gotta readjust. It fucks with your head. You know what I'm saying? So, that's one of the things I wanted to say. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of hypocrisy and it's a lot of hate from Mayweather, but at the end of the day, he is on top of his game. And any argument that people use, they want to give Manny Pacquiao praise for fighting name recognition fighters. It's people that were ranked higher that have no name recognition, and people know nothing about these fighters. Like, I've been said Malik Scott could beat maybe one of the Klitschko's, but I didn't know where he was, because after Friday Night Fight stopped airing like that, I thought he fell off. That's a fighter from Philly, amateur record of 73 wins. I don't know how many losses, but 73 wins, and he's like 37-0 now as a professional. But when you put that up there, somebody be like, "Who the fuck is Malik Scott?" That's because you don't watch boxing. You don't know nothing about it. And I'm not gonna say that I'm the king of the creme de la creme, because there are people that are on here that have accounts that talk about fighters that I know nothing about, but I know about fighters that other people don't know about, which goes to show that they not watching. They only watching the big fights. You know what I'm saying? They don't know that cruiserweight is now 200 pounds, but when Evander Holyfield was fighting, and it was 180. That's why my favorite heavyweight is Evander Holyfield. It ain't never been Tyson, and it ain't never been Ali. It always been Holyfield. You know what I'm saying? I got roots in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I know about what Holyfield do, where he come from, Vernon Forrest. I know about the fact that Floyd Mayweather spent some time out in ATL learning the Evander Holyfield camp. Shit like that. Shit that people don't know nothing about. You know what I mean? But, this is the first video. You know what I mean? I'm going to think of some things to say on the second video. You know what I mean? And then I'll get back to you. Peace.